All right, opportunity is the O in the focus round. What is one opportunity that's been a game changer for you in your career? Could be personal or career. You said development projects. You said great education and contacts. So you built some relationships throughout school, your schooling.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, going to law school, I moved out to San Diego to go to California Western School of Law. And I always saw being an attorney as being, using it as a tool more than having it as, full career. And my focus has been on real estate and using that as a way to help learn the market, learn the model of real estate investment. I've been thankful to have some really good clients in the past that have been great investors themselves.
That means you're developers.
Some developers.
I know one of your partners, Matt.
Matt Williams, definitely.
Shout out Matt Williams, Texas.
Oh yeah, he's San Diego native, so he's definitely
back and forth though now, right?
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, we're working on a few different projects, San Diego based and other areas. So he's definitely been a great partner, mentor over the last few years. So I think those types of opportunities wouldn't have developed if I just stayed more focused on just
practicing law.
Yeah, just the legal career, so to speak. So I'm definitely thankful for, looking out at some different opportunities, and you give me a lot of different perspective that I think helps with the practice of law, because I can think in some of the different ways that, don't always come up.
Yeah, it helps you essentially be more empathetic, see the view from the other person or a different angle, different vantage points, and it gives you just more tools in your tool belt.
Right. And then, if you have that investment background, I think it does help to see where some of the resolution points or some other avenues are. I think with you being an attorney, you really learn how to creatively problem solve issues.
Yeah, where developers or developer types hotspots are, where they're like, no, I'm not giving up on this, or where they're like, hey, I'm willing to negotiate this, let's settle and get it done. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think we'll get into that more, but I think there's definitely some different areas where using those different hats. And I've learned a lot from developers too, looking at it from, a developer's perspective, so to speak, to allow for there to be a broader viewpoint in terms of what could be viable options.
Love it. Okay, C, communication. What is your most important communication tip? You said set and maintain expectations. I will jump in and say, add the word proper expectations. Because if you set expectations and they're unrealistic or they're not the right expectation, that's the cause for conflict often. I love the answer though. Set and maintain expectations. Break it down for me.
I mean, I think you said it right there. Just being mindful of what needs to get done and how to do it in a way that makes sense for everybody. And having that communication ability to relay some of the negatives. Obviously in the development world in particular, you're dealing with delays and setbacks, and you deal with that in life in general. So being able to communicate that, not only to be able to put that out, but also receive that, as an audience when things don't go quite as you anticipated or may have wanted, that I think that's very important to keeping a cohesive team and keeping the project together if you're looking to do long-term, larger developments.
100%. Love that. Okay, you, understanding. What's one thing you wish you would have understood earlier? You put the soft cost dilemma. What does that mean?
I think that's the biggest sticking point I see with pretty much every development project, because you have the ability a lot of times to leverage the property early on to purchase it, maybe put 10, 15, 20% down of the purchase price to acquire the property. But then to get to the point of actually being able to build whatever that project is, you have to have a budget of sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what your project is, to get the architectural plans, do the site analysis to realize what things might be needed from a structural perspective to put together those plans and whatnot. So I think that piece is, from what I've seen, my experience at least, an area of void. There's bridge loans and things like that, but it's been something where I've seen a lot of people get stuck in that phase of...
Yeah, they can get stuck. It's interesting that you bring that up. I'm dealing with a situation right now with a client that's going through that, actually multiple. So it depends on who you're using to do your development with, how sophisticated they are, how quickly they move. Time is the killer of deals. you have surveys, right? So you have topo, you have boundary surveys, you have soil surveys that people are not always ready for that stuff. You have, SDG&E, you have utilities, you have obviously civil at times, you have structural, you have architectural, you have impact fees, you have school fees, you have a bunch of costs, and obviously the cost to pull the permit that sometimes people are not calculating, nor are they calculating effectively. And if you have dirt or that property is not cash flowing at them, that burn will put you under quick. And I think that's what you're speaking to. We learned that quickly by doing the thing. It's like, oh, we're going to make $1 billion on this project. And then you just bleed and bleed and bleed.
Right.
But I tell people, no matter what, guys, look, there's a downside. You got to get going, though. So you will learn that. Listening to podcasts like this and other ways to educate yourself will help you avoid that and understand, hey, look, I should be approaching it from this mindset. These soft costs are going to cost money. I should probably start small and buy a property and cash flow it with rent. That will help me, and I should budget for those soft costs to be able to get there. Because as Adam is mentioning, those soft costs cost money, and if you're bleeding month over month, that leverage position gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And we never want to be operating in real estate or in business, if at all possible, from a weak leverage position.
Exactly.
Cool.